Hey there. Tonight we're going back, way back, to 1177 BCE. You are standing in a wheat field that should be golden, should be, but the stalks are brown, withered, crackling under your calloused feet. You are Asher, a farmer in the Hittite heartland. 28 harvests you've seen. This one is different. Your children haven't eaten in 3 days. Your wife grinds dust between millstones, pretending it will become bread. The granaries? Empty. The king's tax collectors? Still coming. You don't know it yet, but this failed harvest, this single catastrophic drought, will start a chain reaction. 3 empires will burn. Millions will die. Bronze swords will taste blood from Anatolia to Egypt. And you'll be right in the middle of it all. Welcome to my channel, where history meets bedtime. Tonight's story is brutal, real, and absolutely true. If you're watching from a warm bed, with food in your kitchen, leave a comment about where you're from and what time it is. You're safe now. They weren't. So, dim the lights. Get comfortable. Let me take you back to the year everything fell apart. You wake before dawn, as you always do. The air tastes wrong, dry, metallic, like licking copper coins. Your mud brick home keeps the worst heat out, but barely. You've slept poorly. Dreams of dying crops haunted you. Rising from your reed mat, you step outside. The sky is cloudless, has been for 70 days straight. Your wheat field stretches before you, 3 acres that should feed your family and pay the king's tribute. Should. The stalks stand barely knee-high, their heads empty of grain. You've worked this land since your father died 15 years ago. You've never seen anything like this. Your hands, calloused, scarred from harvest cuts over decades, reach out to touch a stalk. It crumbles to dust between your fingers. Your stomach tightens. No harvest means no food. No food means your children starve. No tribute means the king's soldiers come. Walking between the rows, you count. Maybe 1 stalk in 20 has any grain at all. Even that grain is shriveled, worthless. The mathematics of survival run through your mind. Last year's harvest, 40 bushels. This year, maybe 3. Maybe. Other farmers are emerging from their homes now, walking their fields with the same hollow expressions. No one speaks. What is there to say? The sun god Istanu has abandoned you, or perhaps you've angered him. Either way, you'll starve. The village headman, Tabana, approaches. His field looks no better than yours. The king will still want his tribute, he says quietly. You nod. You already know. 3 days pass. You've eaten nothing but water mixed with old grain dust. Your wife, Tiwat, boils leather straps to make soup. Your 2 children, Muwati, age 7, and little Pawa, age 4, cry from hunger pains, then stop crying. The silence is worse. The village square fills at midday. 50 families, all farmers, all facing the same catastrophe. Tabana stands on the stone platform where announcements are made. His voice cracks when he speaks. The king's messenger arrived this morning. Tribute is due in 14 days, same amount as last year. Murmurs ripple through the crowd. Same amount, with no harvest. Impossible. Someone shouts, "We'll starve!" Another voice, "Let the king come take dirt." You remain silent, calculating. 40 bushels of wheat, or its equivalent in silver. You have maybe 3 bushels. You have no silver. You have sheep, but they're dying too. No grass, no water. Tabana continues. Other villages are the same. The whole region, the whole kingdom, I'm told. His words chill you. This isn't local. This is everywhere. Some families are leaving, going north to the coast, hoping to find food there. Your wife grips your arm. "Should we go?" she whispers. You look at your children's hollow faces. Travel means risk, but staying means certain starvation. The coastal cities have grain reserves. Maybe. Probably already crowded with refugees. Probably defended by soldiers who'll turn you away. That night, you sit awake. The decision weighs like stones. Stay and starve slowly. Leave and maybe die on the road. Or there's a third option, one you haven't spoken aloud. Fight. Take what you need. Morning brings the first violence. You hear shouting from the grain storehouse, the king's reserve, kept in the village centre for emergencies. Except the king never releases it during emergencies. It just sits there, guarded, while people starve. You run toward the noise. 20 men from your village are there, facing down the 2 soldiers who guard the storehouse. You recognize all of them: Zidanza the potter, Cantuzili the shepherd, others. Desperate men, hungry men. Zidanza is shouting, "Our children are dying! That grain belongs to all of us!" The soldiers, young men barely 20, hold bronze-tipped spears nervously. They're scared. One soldier stammers, "King's law! We guard the grain. You take it, we die." The mathematics shift. 2 soldiers, 20 men. You feel yourself moving forward, joining the group. You don't remember deciding to. Your body made the choice. Hunger overriding law. One soldier raises his spear. Zidanza, pottery strong arms, grabs it. They struggle. Other men rush forward, you among them. The second soldier runs. Smart choice. The first soldier goes down under bodies. You don't see what happens next, don't want to. The storehouse door breaks. Inside, 60 bushels of wheat. Enough to feed the village for 2 weeks. Men are grabbing sacks, running. You grab one, heavy, beautiful. Survival in a bag. You run home. Tiwat stares at the grain. "Asha, did you kill anyone?" You shake your head, truthfully. You didn't. Others did. Does that matter? You're all guilty now, all traitors. By afternoon, smoke rises from the south, the capital sending soldiers. You knew they would. The soldiers arrive at sunset. Not 2, 20. Bronze armor gleaming, weapons ready. They ride in chariots pulled by horses. Expensive, rare, terrifying. The captain dismounts, a scarred veteran named Hutsi. You've seen him before, collecting tribute. Hutsi stands in the square. His voice cuts through evening air. "Who led the raid?" Silence. "The king's grain was stolen. The guards were killed." Wait, killed? You thought they ran. And someone will pay. Give me the leaders, or everyone pays. Tabana steps forward. Brave or foolish, you can't tell. "Captain Hutsi, our children are starving. The drought." "I don't care about drought," Hutsi interrupts. "I care about law. King's grain is sacred. Stealing it is death." He pauses. "Give me 10 men. I execute them. The rest of you live." 10 lives for 60. The math is brutal. You look at Zidanza, the potter who grabbed the spear first. He's looking at the ground. You look at your children, bellies full for the first time in weeks from the stolen grain. Someone could name you. You were there. You took grain. Your name is on lips all around you, unspoken. Hutsi waits. The silence stretches. Then he nods. "Fine. No one confesses. Everyone shares the guilt." He turns to his soldiers. "Burn 10 houses. Random selection. And the tribute is now doubled. Due in 7 days, not 14. Your heart stops. Doubled? Impossible was already impossible. This is death by another name. That night, 10 families watch their homes burn. The soldiers choose randomly, exactly as threatened. You got lucky. Others didn't. Their screams as flames eat their possessions echo through darkness. You hold Tiwat close. "We can't stay," you whisper. She nods, but leaving means becoming refugees, outcasts. Staying means death or slavery when you can't pay tribute. You leave before dawn, the whole family. Everything you own fits in 2 sacks, a bronze knife, some clothing, what's left of the stolen grain, a clay water jug. Mawati carries a blanket. Pawa is too small, so Tiwat carries her. You're not alone. 30 other families leave too. A stream of refugees moving north toward the coast. The coastal cities have ports, trade, grain from Egypt. Maybe. Hope is all you have. The road is ancient, packed earth worn smooth by centuries of travelers. Usually it carries merchants, messengers, soldiers. Today it carries the desperate. You see other groups too, from other villages. Hundreds of people, all moving in the same direction, away from the dying heartland. An old man collapses on the roadside. His family can't carry him and their supplies. They make a choice you understand but hate. They leave him. He doesn't protest, just sits there, waiting for death. Mawati asks why they left grandfather. You have no good answer. By midday, you've covered maybe 8 miles. Your feet bleed. Pawa cries. The sun hammers down, relentless. Water is running low. You see a well ahead and your pace quickens. Then you see the bodies. 10 people, maybe more, dead around the well. They died fighting over water. You can tell from their wounds, bronze blades, clubs, stones. The well itself is fouled, blood in the water. Someone in your group says what everyone thinks. The kingdom is falling apart. You don't disagree. No kingdom survives when farmers become refugees, when wells become battlegrounds, when law dies to hunger. The Hittite Empire has stood for 400 years. You're watching it collapse in real time. That night, you camp with your group. No fire, too risky, attracts attention. You share your grain sparingly. Tomorrow, more walking, toward the coast, toward hope, toward the unknown. 3 days of walking. You've covered maybe 30 miles. The coastal city of Ura should be visible soon, nestled against the sea. You've never seen the ocean. Tiwat has. She says it's beautiful, endless, blue. Cresting a hill, you see it, Ura, and you see the problem. Thousands of people camped outside the walls. The city gates are closed. Soldiers line the walls, spears ready. You approach the refugee camp. It's chaos. Makeshift tents, crying children, the smell of sickness and waste. No organization, no food distribution. Just desperate people waiting for mercy that isn't coming. A woman tells you the city closed its gates 4 days ago. Too many of us, she explains. They're afraid we'll eat everything, bring disease. She coughs, a wet, rattling sound. They're probably right. You find a spot on the edge of the camp, set down your sacks. Mawati asks when they'll let you in. You have no answer. Tiwat looks at your grain supply, maybe 3 days left, with careful rationing. That night, a fight breaks out over water from a nearby stream. 2 men die. The crowd watches, too tired to intervene. This is what you've become. People so desperate that murder becomes entertainment. A merchant moves through the camp at dawn. He's got a cart of bread, stale, hard, but bread. He's selling it for silver. 1 loaf costs what you'd normally pay for 50. People are buying. You watch your grain supply and do math. In 3 days, you'll be that desperate too. Someone approaches you, a man named Duty, maybe 40, scarred face. They're recruiting, he says quietly. The Kaskan raiders from the north. They're hiring fighters. bronze weapons, food daily, and share of the plunder. Plunder from where, you ask? He points at Ura. Cities that close their gates on dying people. You find Dutty again. The decision made itself when Power started coughing this morning. Same wet rattle as the sick woman. No food, no medicine, no help. Your baby daughter is dying. Dutty leads you to the northern edge of camp. 200 men gather there, maybe more. Farmers like you, shepherds, potters. Men who knew peace until the harvest failed. Now learning war. The Kaskan leader is named Pithana. He's enormous, 6.5 feet tall, scarred across his chest from some ancient battle. Northern accent, rough. Can you kill? He asks you directly. You hesitate. You've killed animals for food. Never a man. Pithana reads your face. Doesn't matter. You'll learn or you'll die. Either way solves the problem. He hands you a bronze spear, old, nicked, but functional. Food is at sunset. We attack Ura tomorrow night. Your hands close on the spear shaft. The weight feels wrong, unnatural. This isn't a farming tool. This is only for killing. You think about your children's faces. The mathematics are simple now. Kill strangers so your family eats, or watch your family die. No middle option. Training starts immediately. A Kaskan veteran named Nar shows you basics. Spear stays high until you thrust. Aim for belly, not chest. Easier to penetrate. When they fall, finish them. Mercy gets you killed. He demonstrates on a straw dummy. You practice for hours. Thrust, withdraw, thrust. Your farming muscles adapt quickly. The motion isn't that different from using a hoe. Same core rotation, same follow-through. That thought sickens you. You've reduced murder to farm work. Evening brings food as promised. Barley porridge, thin but real. Tiwat sees the spear, understands. She doesn't speak, just holds you. Muwati asks if you're going to be a soldier. Something like that, you answer. Tomorrow, you become a raider. Tomorrow, the Empire's collapse becomes personal. The attack begins 2 hours after sunset. 200 raiders, no armor, can't afford it. Just bronze weapons and desperation. Pithana's plan is simple. Scale the walls where the soldiers are thinnest. Open the gates from inside. Flood the city. You carry rope and hooks in addition to your spear. The wall section you're assigned is 15 feet high, mud brick, old. Nar is beside you, along with 10 other farmers turned raiders. Stay quiet until they spot us, Nar whispers. Then move fast. The approach is terrifying. Open ground between camp and walls. The moon is half full, too much light. You expect arrows any second. But the walls are long, the soldiers spread thin. You reach the base undetected. Hooks go up. The first thrower misses, metal clanging against brick. Too loud. A soldier shouts above. Then arrows come. The man next to you, Luti, a shepherd you met yesterday, takes one in the throat. He gurgles, falls. Your hands shake. Climb, Nar hisses. You grab the rope. Hand over hand, feet against brick. An arrow hits the wall beside your head. You don't think, just climb. Farming strength serves you. Hauling grain sacks for years prepared you for this. You reach the top. A young soldier stands there, spear ready, terrified. He's maybe 17. He sees your face, hunger, desperation, determination, and hesitates. That hesitation kills him. Nar comes over the wall behind you, drives his spear through the boy's chest before you can even react. Don't freeze, Nar snaps at you. Move to the gate. You're on the wall now. Below, the city of Ura spreads out. Homes, shops, temples. People sleeping, unaware. More raiders are topping the wall. The soldiers are converging, fighting desperately. You run along the wall toward the gate mechanism. A soldier blocks your path. Older, experienced. He thrusts. You barely parry, farming instincts saving you. He thrusts again. This time you counter. Nar's training kicking in. Your spear catches his arm. He drops his weapon. You should finish him. You can't. He runs. The gate mechanism is ahead. You reach it with Nar and 3 others. Together, you heave the massive wooden bar up. The gates swing open. 200 desperate men flood into Ura. Narrative: the sacking of Ura is chaos. Raiders flood the streets, kicking in doors, dragging out anything valuable, screaming everywhere. You follow Nar, not knowing what else to do. This is your first raid, his 20th. "Food first!" Nar shouts. He leads you to the granary district. The massive storage buildings are poorly defended. Most soldiers went to the walls. You and 30 other raiders overwhelm 3 guards. They die quickly. You don't strike the killing blows, but you hold them off while others do. Same guilt, different method. Inside the granaries, enough wheat to feed your village for a year. The raiders stuff sacks, filling every container they brought. Nar hands you a bag. "Fill it. This is payment." You fill it with trembling hands. Your daughter needs medicine more than grain, but grain you can trade for medicine. Outside, a woman runs past holding a child. A raider follows her. You don't intervene. Can't. The mathematics of survival have made you a coward. Pithana appears, covered in blood that isn't his. "Treasury next! Roars!" he roars. 50 raiders follow him toward the palace district. You're swept along in the mob, moving through burning streets toward the city's wealth. The palace guards make a stand. Real soldiers, not the wall defenders. Bronze armor, trained fighters. They form a line, shields locked. Pithana doesn't slow. The raiders crash into them like a wave. Men die on both sides. You're in the rear, which saves you. You watch farmers you met yesterday get cut down by professional soldiers. But there are 200 desperate men versus 20 trained guards. Numbers win. The line breaks. Guards die. You step over bodies into the palace. The treasury is already open, smashed. Silver, bronze ingots, jewelry, fine cloth. Raiders grab everything. You grab a bronze mirror, worth maybe 30 bushels of grain equivalent. You grab copper rings. You grab a small silver figurine. In 30 seconds, you loot more wealth than you'd see in 10 farming years. Then you hear a child crying. In a side room. You investigate. A noble family is hiding there. Mother, father, 2 children. They're richly dressed. They look at you with pure terror. The father offers you a bag of silver. "Please, don't hurt us." You look at the bag. Enough to buy food for your family for months. You look at their children. Well-fed, healthy, everything yours aren't. The anger rises. They had food while Pawa starved. They closed the gates on dying refugees. Your hand tightens on your spear. You take the silver. You don't kill them. You can't cross that line. Not yet. Maybe never. You hope never. But the spear stays ready as you back out of the room, and they know how close they came. Outside, Ura burns. The raiders have become an uncontrolled mob now, destroying for destruction's sake. Pithana's leadership has dissolved. Each man acts on his own fury. Years of Hittite taxation, tribute, arrogance, all released in one night of violence. You make your way back toward the gates, toward the refugee camp, toward your family. The sack of grain weighs heavy. The looted bronze and silver clink in your belt. Your hands are stained with blood, though you're not sure whose. Guards you fought, wounded you stepped over, violence you witnessed. All of it marks you. Dawn breaks as you reach the camp. Tiwat sees you coming, sees the blood, sees the loot. Her face cycles through relief, horror, understanding. "You're alive," she says. "That's all that matters." You give her the grain, the silver. "We can leave now, buy passage on a ship, go to Cyprus or Egypt, somewhere the drought hasn't reached." But even as you speak, you know the truth. The drought is everywhere. The other raiders talk between raids. The Mycenaean kingdoms in Greece are collapsing too. Egypt is fighting off invasions. The whole Bronze Age world is falling apart, triggered by this one catastrophic harvest failure across multiple regions. Muwati stares at your weapons. "Father, are you a soldier now?" Again with that question. You crouch down, look him in the eyes. "I'm whatever I need to be to keep you alive." Pithana gathers the raiders at noon. The old giant looks satisfied, vicious. Ura was first, but there are other cities, Tarhuntassa, Carchemish. Each one close their gates on starving people. Each one hoards grain while we die. Who's with me? 200 hands raise, including yours. You've crossed the line now. You're a raider. You've tasted the power of taking instead of begging. And honestly, it feels better than starving. That night, you sleep holding your spear. The farmer you were is dying. The warrior you're becoming knows only survival. 2 weeks pass. 3 more cities fall to Pithana's raiders. Each raid, you go deeper into violence. Each raid, the hesitation lessens. You're learning to kill efficiently. Na teaches you. Experience teaches you. Necessity teaches you. Tarhuntassa falls in 4 hours. You kill your first man there, a guard who corners you in an alley. It's him or you. Your spear finds his belly. He takes minutes to die. You watch, making sure he can't rise. The guilt comes later, but it's getting quieter. Between raids, you live in Pithana's camp. 2,000 people now. Not just fighters, but families who followed the food. Tiwat sets up a tent. Muwati starts training with a wooden spear. Too young, but learning anyway. This is his world now. Power's cough finally clears. Good food, real medicine bought with raid silver. You're sitting by a fire when a messenger arrives. Not for Pithana, for everyone. News spreading through camp like wildfire. The Hittite king is dead, murdered by his own generals. The capital is in civil war. The empire is finished. The camp erupts. 400 years of Hittite rule gone. The mighty empire that taxed your farm, demanded tribute, enforced order, collapsed. No central authority anymore, just warlords, raiders, city-states scrambling for survival. Pithana sees opportunity. "The capital," he shouts. "Hattusa, the great city. Everything we've taken is nothing compared to that." His eyes gleam with vicious ambition. "Who wants to be rich?" Every hand raises, including yours. Hattusa, you've never seen it, only heard stories. The jewel of Anatolia, massive walls, royal palace, temple complexes. And now, leaderless, defenseless. Na sits beside you. "You've changed," he observes. "Not accusation, just fact." You nod. 3 weeks ago, you were Ashur the farmer. Today, you're Ashur the raider, planning to sack the greatest city in the kingdom. "We all changed," you reply. "The harvest changed us." The march to Hattusa takes 5 days. Pithana leads 400 fighters now, his original 200, plus recruits from each sacked city. Desperate men join desperate men. You're a veteran by their standards, teaching newer raiders basic spearwork while you walk. The landscape tells the story of collapse. Abandoned villages, dead livestock, fields gone completely to dust. Every stream is contested. You pass 3 sites where people died fighting over water. The drought hasn't broken. If anything, it's worse. The gods have truly abandoned Anatolia. Hattusa appears on the 6th day. Even in collapse, it's magnificent. Massive walls, 30 feet high, surrounding a plateau city. The Lion Gate, carved with protective beasts. The Royal Quarter, temple of the storm god Teshub, administrative buildings. Home to 30,000 people, heart of an empire. Except the gates stand open, no guards visible. Smoke rises from inside the walls. You approach cautiously, expecting ambush. Nothing comes. Inside, you find civil war. 2 factions fighting over the dead king's throne. The streets are battlegrounds. Professional soldiers killing each other while civilians cower. They're so focused on their power struggle, they don't notice 400 raiders walking in. Pithana grins like a wolf. They're doing our work for us. Let them weaken each other, then we take everything. You spend 3 days watching Hittite kill Hittite. The western faction controls the palace. The eastern faction holds the temples. Neither side has clear advantage. Meanwhile, raiders prepare. You're assigned to the grain warehouses, same as Ura. Nar leads your group of 50. Inside, enough grain to feed your village for 50 years. You laugh at the absurdity. All that suffering, all those deaths, and the capital was sitting on mountains of food. They could have helped. They chose not to. You help load wagons, bag after bag of wheat, barley, lentils. Around you, Hattusa dies. The empire's capital, sacked by farmers with bronze spears. The sack of Hattusa lasts 3 days. The 2 noble factions are so focused on killing each other, they barely notice the raiders stripping the city. By the time they do notice, it's too late. The granaries are empty, the treasuries are looted, the armories are picked clean. You personally load 17 wagons with grain. The mathematics are staggering. Enough food to feed Pithana's entire camp for 2 years. All of it was here while your daughter starved, while entire villages emptied, while the kingdom collapsed. On the 2nd day, you enter the palace. Not looting this time, just witnessing. The throne room where Hittite kings ruled for 4 centuries is a slaughterhouse. Bodies of nobles, generals, princes, all dead in their civil war. The throne itself sits empty, blood-spattered, meaningless. A dying nobleman grabs your ankle, high-ranking judging by his robes. "Help me," he wheezes. "I'll pay." You look at him, really look. This man, or men like him, made the decisions. Keep the grain locked up, close the gates on refugees, tax the starving. His choices created you. "Where was your help?" you ask quietly. "When my village starved." His eyes widen with understanding, then they close. You walk away. Outside the palace, you find Nar. "Pithana's calling everyone. Something's happening." The raider army gathers in the main square. 400 fighters, plus families, plus hangers-on. Maybe 1,500 people total. Pithana stands on the Lion Gate, the massive carved portal. He looks like a king himself now. Looted armor, golden armband, bronze sword. "The Hittite Empire is dead," he roars. The crowd roars back. But Egypt still stands. The Mycenaean kingdoms still hold. And we, he sweeps his arm across the assembled raiders. We are an army now, strong, federal, armed. Who wants to see what the world looks like when we take it? The roar is deafening. You roar with them. 3 weeks ago, the idea would have horrified you. Today, it excites you. The harvest failed. The empire fell. Now the rules are different. That night, you write a letter. Most raiders can't write, but you can. Basic cuneiform, learned in temple school as a child. You write to your brother, if he's still alive, in your home village, if it still exists. The empire is gone. The harvest killed it. I'm alive. The family is alive. We're moving south toward Egypt. If you survive, find us. The old world is dead. Something new is being born in blood. You never get a reply. You never know if he survived. The raider army moves south. Not just Pithana's 400 anymore. Other groups have joined. Every sacked city, 3 months in Egyptian territory. Your army, you think of it as your army now, controls the Delta region. Pharaoh's forces can't dislodge you. Too many fronts. Libyans from the west, your raiders from the north. Internal rebellions from hungry Egyptian peasants who see raiders eating well. You're stationed in the captured city of Pelusium. Administrative work now, less fighting. You manage grain distribution, organize patrols, train new recruits. You've become what you hated: a tax collector, an administrator, an enforcer. The irony doesn't escape you. Muwati is 13 now. He fights in your squad, against your wishes, but with your training. He killed his first man last month, came back to your tent shaking. You held him, told him the shaking passes. You lied. It never passes. You just get better at hiding it. Pawa is 9, helping Tiwat manage the camp's food stores. She's good with numbers, better than you. 10,000 versus your 2,000. The mathematics are bad. Pithana calls a war council, 50 squad leaders, you among them. The giant warlord looks tired for the first time since you met him. Egypt wants us gone, he says simply. We can fight and probably lose, or we can negotiate. Take what we've looted, find somewhere to settle, build new cities, become Egyptians ourselves maybe. The room erupts. Half want to fight, raiders through and through. Half want to settle, farmers remembering what peace felt like. You're torn. Pithana looks directly at you. Asher, you were first to join. What do you think? Every eye turns to you. These men who followed you into battle, who trust your command, they want your wisdom. You, a farmer who just wanted to feed his family, you speak carefully. We came here for food. We have food, mountains of it. We came here because the Empire abandoned us. We can't become what we destroyed. Every man listening. But we can't beat Egypt in open war, not 10,000 soldiers. So we negotiate from strength. We keep what we've taken. We settle the Delta. We become something new. Not Hittite, not Egyptian. Us. Pithana nods slowly. The Sea Peoples, someone says. You've heard the name before. Egyptian term for the raiders from across the Mediterranean. Not one tribe, but many, all displaced by the same drought. That's what they call us. The decision is made. Pithana sends ambassadors to Pharaoh. The negotiations take weeks. Egypt is desperate. They can't fight on 3 fronts. They agree. The raiders can settle the Delta, become subjects of Egypt, but with autonomy. Land for loyalty. It should feel like victory. It feels like surrender. You became a raider to survive. Now you're becoming... what? A farmer again? Can you even remember how? The settlement is formalized. Your people, your raiders, their families, all 5,000 souls, are given land in the Delta. Rich soil, Nile flooding guaranteed. Irrigation systems already built. Everything you dreamed of when your farm was dying. You stand in your new field. Black earth, wet, fertile. Nothing like the dusty Anatolian soil you once worked. Muwati stands beside you. Can you teach me to farm? He asks. I only know fighting. That breaks you. Your son should have learned farming from you through peaceful years of working together. Instead, You taught him to kill. The harvest that failed destroyed more than empires. It destroyed generations. You teach him planting depth, irrigation timing, crop rotation. It comes back to you, muscle memory from another life. But your hands shake. These hands have killed. Now they're supposed to create? Tiwat plants with you. Pawa helps. Your squad members, raiders who followed you into battle, they plant in adjacent fields. 20 warrior farmers trying to remember peace. The first shoots appear after 2 weeks. Green, living, growing. You sit in the field at night, watching them, and cry for the first time since the harvest failed. Na finds you there, sits beside you silently. Finally, we survived. Did we? You ask. Are we the same people who started this? He doesn't answer, can't answer. You both know the truth. 1 year passes, your crops grow. The Nile floods predictably, feeding the fields. You harvest 40 bushels from your acre, more than you ever got from Anatolian soil. The mathematics work. You have food. Your family eats. By every measure, you've won. But the ghosts won't leave. 37 men you killed, the noblemen you let die, the cities you sacked. Every night they visit your dreams. You wake gasping, reaching for a spear that isn't there. Tiwat holds you, says nothing. What is there to say? The settlement of Sea Peoples, that's the name that stuck, numbers 10,000 now. Other raider groups joined yours. Former Hittites, Mycenaeans, Anatolians, all mixed together. A new people, born from collapsed empires. Pithana has become a governor of sorts. Egypt's pharaoh uses him to defend the delta from other raiders, making deals with some, fighting off others. The irony is rich. Raiders policing raiders. You're still a leader, but of farmers now instead of warriors. 20 families look to you for guidance. You teach them Egyptian farming techniques. You mediate disputes. You're becoming a village headman, like Tabana was. The cycle repeats. Muwati is 14, working the fields but keeping his spear sharp. He's not alone. All the young men do. They don't trust peace. Neither do you. Father, he asks one evening, what if the harvest fails again? The question haunts you. Then we survive, like we did before. By raiding? You want to say no, want to promise civilization, law, peace. But you remember hunger. Remember your daughter's cough. Remember the mathematics of survival. By whatever we must, you answer honestly. News comes from the north. The Hittite homeland is completely abandoned now. The cities you sacked never recovered. The great empire, 4 centuries old, is footnotes. Egypt calls it the catastrophe. You call it Tuesday. Your brother arrives unexpectedly. You haven't seen him in 3 years. He's thin, scarred, haunted. The village is gone, he reports. Raiders came, not Pithanas, others. Killed the headman, took everything. He doesn't ask what you did, doesn't need to. Your scars tell the story. That night, you sit with the ghosts. 37 men, plus 1 empire, plus your innocence. All dead. All because the wheat failed. 2 years in the Delta. Your settlement is permanent now. Mud brick houses replacing tents. Streets forming. A marketplace. Temple to both Hittite and Egyptian gods. Hedging bets with the divine. You're building a city from scratch. Egyptian officials visit regularly. Tax collectors. Your stomach twists every time. You're on the other side now, the one collecting tribute instead of paying it. You're appointed to the settlement council. 10 leaders governing 10,000 people. You handle agricultural policy. Irrigation schedules, crop rotation, dispute resolution. It's like village headman work, scaled up. You're good at it, which disturbs you. You're better at organization than you ever were at fighting. A new threat emerges. Libyan raiders from the west, hitting Egyptian territory. Pharaoh sends conscription orders. Every settlement must provide soldiers. Your people, former raiders themselves, receive the call. The council meets. Pithana is old now, maybe 60, grey-bearded and slower. Egypt wants us to fight Libyans, same as we were, hungry people displaced by drought. He looks around the table. Thoughts? Nar speaks first. We owe Egypt. They gave us land. We fight. Another council member, Kantuzili, you remember him from your original village, disagrees. We came here fleeing conscription. Now we're conscripted again? You speak carefully. The Libyans will raid anyway. Egypt or not, they need food. They'll hit our farms. Better to fight them there than here. The decision is made. You raise a company, 100 men, trained fighters, your former raiders. Egypt gives you bronze weapons, assigns you to the Delta defense. You're a soldier again. The first engagement happens at the western border. Libyan raiders, maybe 500 strong, hitting grain caravans. Your 100 intercepts them. You recognize their desperation immediately. Same hollow eyes you had 3 years ago. The battle is brief, brutal. You win. 50 Libyans dead. Your force loses 12. You stand over a dying Libyan fighter, young, maybe 18. He's whispering in his language. You don't understand the words, but you understand the meaning. Calling for his mother. You kneel beside him. Can't help, but can't leave him alone either. He dies gripping your hand. 38. 5 years in Egypt. Your settlement, it has a name now, Jahi, is a real city. 3,000 inhabitants, stone buildings, proper irrigation, markets, schools teaching both Egyptian hieroglyphs and Hittite cuneiform. A hybrid culture born from catastrophe. You're 43 years old. Somehow, the decades blurred together. Fighting, farming, fighting again. Muwati is 19, commanding his own squad in the Delta Defense Forces. You taught him too well. He's a better fighter than you ever were, and that terrifies you. Pawa is 14, apprentice to a scribe. She's brilliant with numbers and languages. She'll be the one who escapes violence, you think. You hope. She's writing the settlement's history, interviewing the original raiders. When she interviews you, you tell her everything. The failed harvest, the raid on the storehouse, the cities you sacked. She writes it down without judgment. Why are you telling her this? Tiwat asks later. You want her to know what you did? I want someone to understand why, you answer, before everyone who remembers dies. The Libyan raids continue. You fight them 3-4 times a year. It's routine now. Mobilize, march, fight, return. The numbers in your head grow. 52 men now, each one a face, each one a ghost. A captured Libyan officer is brought to you for questioning. He's your age, similar scars, similar exhaustion. Through a translator, you ask why they keep raiding. Same as you, he says. Drought, failed harvest. We tried farming, ground's too dry. We tried Egypt before, they turned us away. What do we do? Let our children starve? You have him released. Your soldiers think you're going soft. Maybe you are. Or maybe you just recognize that the cycle never ends. Drought creates hunger. Hunger creates raiders. Raiders become settlers. Settlers become defenders. Defenders fight new raiders. Around and around. That night, you walk through Jahi's streets. Children playing. Markets selling food. Peace, stability, civilization. all built on the corpses of 3 empires and thousands of individual deaths. You pass the temple. Inside, priests are praying for good harvests. Always good harvests. The prayers that failed your village, failed the empire, failed the world. But people need hope, even if it's false. Nar finds you at the city walls, looking west toward Libya. Thinking about the Libyans. Thinking about us. 5 years ago. We survived. They might too. How many died so? 10 years since the harvest failed. You're 48. The anniversary passes unremarked by anyone except you. A decade ago, you stood in a dying wheat field. Now you stand in administrative offices, managing one of Egypt's most productive agricultural regions. The drought has finally broken. Word comes from the north, rain in Anatolia again. The abandoned Hittite cities remain abandoned though. Nobody rebuilds. The collapse was too complete, too traumatic. The survivors moved on, became other people, like you. Jahi has grown to 5,000 souls. You're a senior counselor now, respected, wealthy by any measure. You own 12 acres of prime delta land. You have 6 granaries, 2 ships, business partnerships across Egypt. The starving farmer from Anatolia became a merchant prince. It feels wrong, like you're profiting from catastrophe. Tiwat tells you that's survivor's guilt. We endured, we built something. That's not wrong. Maybe, but the 52 ghosts disagree. They visit less frequently now, but they never leave completely. Mwati announces he's getting married. A local girl, daughter of another former raider. You're becoming grandparents. The cycle continues, but gentler. His children will be born Egyptian, not Hittite. They'll never know the old empire except as stories. Power has finished her history. The tale of the catastrophe, she calls it. She reads you portions. Your voice is in there, your story, but also 20 others. Each person who survived has a different path. Some through fighting, some through fleeing, some through luck. All ended here. You're the main character though, she says. You survived every step. Village to refugee, to raider, to soldier, to counselor. You saw everything. You don't feel like a main character. You feel like you were just there, making desperate choices, watching history happen around you. A messenger arrives from Memphis, Pharaoh's court, official summons. You and 5 other settlement leaders are being granted Egyptian citizenship formally, honored for defending the Delta. Your children will be Egyptian nobility. The ceremony is elaborate. Priests, incense, official decrees. Pharaoh, old Ramesses III, famous for defeating the sea peoples, the irony is not lost on you, personally places a golden collar around your neck. You came as invaders, he says. You stayed as allies. Egypt remembers. You bow properly, play the grateful subject. Inside, you remember Ura burning, Hattusa looted, the nobleman you let die. This golden collar is bought with blood. 15 years since the harvest failed. You're 53. Your body reminds you daily. Old battle wounds ache, especially in damp weather. The scar on your ribs from Carchemish, the shoulder from a Libyan spear, the countless smaller cuts that never quite healed right. Mwati has 2 children now, twins, boy and girl. You hold them and marvel that they'll never know hunger, will never raid, will never count the faces of men they killed. They're the first generation born into stability. Your granddaughter has your daughter's name, Pawa, continuing the line. Your grandson is named Ashur after you. When Mwati told you, you cried. The name carries weight now, history, legacy. Pawa the elder, your daughter, has become a famous scribe. Her history of the catastrophe is copied across Egypt. Scholars debate it. Some call her work essential. Others say it's too sympathetic to raiders. She doesn't care. She documented truth. The Libyan raids have stopped. Their drought broke too. Peace, finally. Your military company is disbanded. You hand over your armor, your weapons, to the temple. Done fighting. For real this time. Nar dies in his sleep. Old age, peaceful. You're one of the pallbearers at his funeral. He was with you from the first raid on the storehouse to the last battle on the border. 30 years of friendship born in desperation. You bury him in Egyptian soil, far from Anatolia. The council is reorganizing. Younger members joining, pushing out the old raiders. Natural succession. You're asked to step down, politely. Let the next generation lead, they say. You've done enough. Have you? 52 men dead by your hand. 3 cities sacked. An empire's collapse witnessed and accelerated. A new culture created from violence. Is that enough? You retire to your estate. Farm work mostly. Teaching your grandchildren to plant. Mawati brings them over daily. Little Ashur asks about your scars. You tell him you fell a lot as a young man. Not entirely untrue. The nightmares are rare now. Maybe once a month. The ghosts are fading. Or maybe you're just getting too old to remember them clearly. Either way feels like a betrayal of the dead. 22 to 23. 20 years since the harvest failed. You're 58. The catastrophe is history now, studied by scholars, distant to anyone born after. But you were there. You remember. A delegation arrives from Anatolia, Hittite survivors trying to rebuild. They're touring Egyptian settlements, looking for former citizens who might return and help restore the homeland. They come to Jahi seeking you specifically. Their leader is young, maybe 30, born after the collapse. He knows you from power's history. You were there when Hattusa fell. You saw the empire's end. We need people who remember, who can help us avoid those mistakes. You listen politely. They offer land, positions, honor. They want you to come home, help rebuild the Hittite kingdom. Phoenix from ashes. It's not my home anymore, you say. I'm Egyptian now. My grandchildren are Egyptian. That world died. They're disappointed but understand. Before they leave, the young leader asks, was it inevitable, the collapse? Or could it have been prevented? You think carefully. The drought was natural. The collapse was choice. If the granaries had been opened, if refugees had been welcomed, if... You trail off. Yes, it could have been prevented. We chose wrong. After they leave, you sit with Tiwat. She's 56, grey-haired, gentle with age. You've been married 34 years. She survived everything with you. The starvation, the flight, the raiding, the settlement. She knows you better than you know yourself. Do you regret any of it? She asks. All of it. None of it. I don't know. You pause. I regret the killing. I don't regret survival. Are they separable? For philosophers, maybe. For us, no. That night, you walk through Jahi's cemetery. Rows of graves. Many you know. Raiders who died fighting. Settlers who died farming. Friends who died old. Nar is here. Zidanza, the potter who grabbed the guard's spear. Tabana, your old village headman who made it to Egypt but died in the 3rd year. You find the memorial stone you erected years ago. No body underneath. It's symbolic. It lists the 52 names. Men you killed. You come here monthly, remembering. Penance? Guilt? Respect? All 3. Your grandson, little Ashur, now 7, finds you there. Grandfather, why do you visit stones? Remembering people I knew, Were they friends? Some were, some weren't. All were human. 25 years since the harvest failed. You're 63. Your body is failing, not dramatically, just the slow decline of age. The shoulder wound never healed properly. You can't lift your arm above your head. The ribs ache constantly. Walking is difficult. Mawati runs the estate now. You're the grandfather who sits in the garden, plays with great-grandchildren, yes, plural, 4 of them, and tells carefully edited stories. The violent parts stay hidden. They don't need to inherit that. Tiwat's health is worse than yours. A cough that won't leave, weight dropping, weakness. Egyptian physicians try everything. Nothing works. You sit with her daily, holding hands like you did in the dying wheat field 3 decades ago. She dies on a Tuesday, peaceful in her sleep, you beside her. 40 years of marriage ended. You bury her in Jahi's cemetery, near Nar, near all the others who survived the catastrophe only to succumb to time. The grief is different than the violence grief. That was sharp, sudden, guilt-laden. This is deep, slow, the amputation of part of yourself. You functioned after killing men. You barely function after losing her. Power moves back to care for you. She's 40 now, unmarried, devoted to scholarship. She reads to you, histories, philosophies, poetry, anything to fill the silence. Tell me about Mother, she asks one day, before everything. You remember. Tiwat at 18, laughing in your village. Your wedding, simple ceremony. The early years of farming, struggles and small joys. Mawati's birth, Power's birth. The ordinary happiness before the drought. She was everything, you say simply. Your health declines faster without her. The physicians say grief can kill. You believe them. You're just tired. 63 years, 40 of them carrying the weight of catastrophe. You're ready to rest. Little Ashur, now 12, smart, kind, visits constantly. He's the one who understands, somehow. Grandfather, were you a good man? The question you've asked yourself 10,000 times. I tried to be. I often failed. I did terrible things for good reasons. I don't know if that makes me good or bad. You saved our family. Grandmother always said so. Yes, I saved our family, at great cost to others. He accepts this. 12 years old and wiser than you were at 40, 1 year after Tiwat's death. You're 64. Each morning you wake surprised to still be alive. You've outlived your wife, most of your friends, and your body's usefulness. But you persist. A letter arrives from the Hittite delegation that visited years ago. Their rebuilding effort is underway, a new capital rising from the ruins. Not Hattusa, that's too haunted, but a new city. They're creating a memorial to the catastrophe, listing every known victim. They want you to come speak at the dedication. You can barely walk. The journey to Anatolia would kill you, but Mawati offers to take you. One last trip, father. See the homeland. Close the circle. Against all wisdom, you agree. If you die on the road, so be it. At least you'll die moving towards something rather than waiting. The journey takes 3 months. Ship across the Mediterranean. You're terrified the entire time, never learn to swim. Overland through recovered territories. Every city you pass, you remember. Katna, you raided that. Kadesh, you fought there. The memories are vivid and distant simultaneously. Anatolia looks different. Greener, the drought fully broken. New settlements where old ones died. The land healed even if the people didn't. The memorial itself is a massive stone wall inscribed with names. 40,000 names. victims of the collapse, those who died of starvation, violence, disease, despair. The names spiral around the monument, layer after layer. Then you find something that stops your heart, a separate section, those who died by violence. And there, among thousands, 52 names you recognize, the men you killed, listed as victims, which they were. You stand before those names for an hour. Mawati supports you physically. You're crying, have been since you saw the first name. All of them, every ghost, immortalized in stone, remembered not as enemies, but as victims of the same catastrophe that nearly killed you. The ceremony organizers ask you to speak. You're not scheduled, but they recognize your name from Pawa's history. You were there, from beginning to end. Please, say something. You shouldn't. Your voice is weak, your memory's painful. But Mawati helps you to the platform. 2,000 people watching. Survivors, descendants, historians, politicians. All waiting. You speak quietly. They have to lean in to hear. I was a farmer, 28 years old when the harvest failed. I had a wife, 2 children, 3 acres of land. Enough, or it should have been enough. Pause for breath. The drought came. The wheat died. We starved. The empire did nothing. Your voice shakes. Mawati holds your arm steady. I killed 52 men. I see their names on that wall. I remember their faces. Some were soldiers doing their duty. Some were guards protecting what they were ordered to protect. Some were just in the way. Tears now, unable to stop them. I'm not asking forgiveness. I can't be forgiven. I just want you to understand. It wasn't evil that destroyed the empire. It was hunger. And hunger makes humans into beasts. You pause, gathering strength for the finish. The empire fell because when we needed help, gates closed. When we needed food, granaries locked. When we needed mercy, we got soldiers. Your voice rises slightly. Don't do that again. Don't let politics or greed or pride create another catastrophe. Because next time, you might be the farmer, and you'll make the same choice I did. You collapse. Not dramatically, just done. No more words. Mawati carries you from the platform. The crowd is silent. Then someone begins to weep. Then others. The memorial ceremony becomes a collective mourning, finally, 25 years late. Later, people approach you, descendants of the men you killed. You expect anger, hatred, demands for justice. Instead, they thank you for remembering him, for speaking truth, for carrying that weight so we don't have to. You don't understand. How can they forgive? An old woman, maybe 70, explains. My husband died in Hattusa, palace guard. You probably killed him, or someone like you did. She takes your trembling hand. But the king killed him first. Killed him by refusing to open the granaries. You were just the weapon. We all were. That night, unable to sleep, you sit in the memorial garden, alone, staring at 52 names. Pawa's voice comes from behind. She came with you. You didn't realize. Father, you should rest. I've been resting for 25 years. These men didn't get to rest. They're at peace now. You should be too. How? How do I earn peace? She sits beside you. You already did. You built a city from ashes, raised a family, told the truth. You survive. You stay in Anatolia for 3 weeks, longer than planned, but you're too weak to travel again immediately. The new Hittites host you, care for you, honor you as a living relic of the catastrophe. Young historians interview you. They want every detail, the drought timeline, the village's collapse, the raids, the settlement. You tell them everything. No more edited versions. They need to know the full horror so they can prevent it. One young scribe, maybe 25, asks, What should we have done differently? The empire, I mean. Opened the granaries immediately when the drought started, suspended tribute, moved people to areas with better harvests, used the wealth for survival instead of palaces. You pause. But mostly, recognize that laws are for good times. In catastrophe, the law is survival. Adapt or die. The empire chose law, so it died. They write it all down. Your words will be in their histories, warning future generations. Maybe this time the warnings will be heeded. Probably not. Humans are slow learners. You visit your old village, or where it was. Nothing remains except foundation stones, barely visible under new growth. You stand where your house stood, where Muwati was born, where power took her first steps. All gone, reclaimed by grass. An old man approaches, maybe 70, local to this area. You're Ashur? The one from the memorial? You nod. I'm Kantuzili's grandson. He was from your village, became a raider with you. Kantuzili, the shepherd who joined the first storehouse raid. He survived to Egypt, lived 15 years, died of fever. I remember him, good man. I'm sorry for your loss. Don't be. He told me once, being a raider saved his family. He felt no shame. The grandson pauses. I wanted to thank you for leading them. Grandfather said you kept people alive when others would have let them die. Did you? You remember differently. Desperate decisions, violence, luck. But maybe that's what leadership is during catastrophe. Not wisdom, just stubbornness. You return to the memorial one last time before leaving. Touch the names. Whisper apologies. Ask forgiveness you don't deserve. The stone is warm from sun, solid, permanent. The journey back to Egypt begins. You're certain you won't survive it. You're ready. The journey home nearly kills you 3 times. Fever in Cyprus, a fall on the ship that cracks a rib, pneumonia in Memphis. But you persist, stubbornly refusing to die in foreign lands. You're Egyptian now. You'll die Egyptian. You reach Jahi in winter, 6 months after leaving. Muwati carries you from the ship to your estate. Your great-grandchildren don't recognize you. You left as frail, you return as a walking corpse. The physicians give you weeks, maybe days. Your body is done. Only will keeps you breathing. You ask for power's history. She brings it, scrolls and scrolls of papyrus, her life's work. You can't read anymore, vision failing, but you hold them, the weight of memory made tangible. Will people remember? You ask her. They will, because you told them. She kisses your forehead. Rest now, father. You've earned it. Have you? 52 ghosts say no. Tiwat's memory says yes. Your family's survival says maybe. You'll never know. Little Ashur, now 13, almost a man, sits with you daily, reading to you Egyptian poetry, Greek philosophy, your daughter's history. His voice is soothing. You drift between sleep and waking, past and present. In dreams, you're young again. The wheat field is golden, not brown. Tiwat is alive. Your children are children, innocent, unscarred. The empire stands. The harvest succeeds. None of it happened. Then you wake to reality. Old, dying. The empire gone. Everything changed. But your family alive, thriving. 4 generations descending from a desperate farmer who chose violence over submission. Was it worth it? You killed 52 men, toppled an empire, birthed a culture from catastrophe. And for what? So your descendants could plant wheat in Egyptian soil instead of Anatolian. Yes, you do it again. Every terrible choice, because they're alive. Na's voice in your head. We survived. Tiwat's voice. We endured. Your voice, finally. We became something new. One night, you don't wake from the dreams. The wheat field is golden. Tiwat is there. Na. The 52 men, no longer ghosts but whole. They don't speak, don't need to. Understanding flows without words. I'm sorry, you tell them. They nod. They know. I had no choice. They nod. They know that too. Will you forgive me? The field stretches endless, golden, perfect. The harvest that never was. And in that dream, that endless moment before death, you understand. Forgiveness isn't theirs to give, only yours to seek. You forgive you. 28 to 29. You're buried in Jahi's cemetery, beside Tiwat, near Na and all the others who survived the catastrophe only to succumb to time. The funeral is massive. 500 people attend. You touched that many lives. Your grandson, young Ashur, now 14, delivers the eulogy. His voice cracks but holds. My grandfather was born a farmer, became a raider, then a soldier, then a builder. He was all these things and none of them. He was a survivor who carried the weight of an empire's fall so his family could live. He never forgave himself for what he did, but we forgive him. He saved us. The mourners echo. He saved us. Your estate is divided. Muwati gets the land. Power gets the library and historical documents. The great-grandchildren get trust funds, enough to never starve, never know desperation, never face your choices. The golden collar from Pharaoh is donated to the memorial in Anatolia, placed beside the 52 names. A plaque reads, Ashur of Jahi, farmer, raider, Egyptian, survivor. He carried this weight for 30 years. May no one else have to. Your story spreads. Power's history becomes required reading in Egyptian schools. The tale of the catastrophe teaches students what happens when empires ignore their people. When gates close on the desperate. When hunger becomes rebellion. 10 years after your death, a new famine threatens Egypt. Not as severe as the Bronze Age catastrophe, but serious. The pharaoh, young Ramesses IV, remembers your story. Granaries open immediately, tribute suspended, gates stay wide. People are fed, the famine passes. Egypt weathers it, civilization persists. Because you told the truth, because power wrote it down, because young Ashur carried it forward. 20 years after your death, Muwati dies. Old age, peaceful. His children bury him beside you. The family plot grows. 30 years after your death, Power dies. She never married, devoted her life to history. Her magnum opus, expanded version of the catastrophe tale, is completed. It fills a library. Every detail, every survivor's story, every lesson. She's buried beside you. Young Ashur, now 44, not so young, stands at your grave. He never knew you well, just 5 years of reading to a dying old man. But your story shaped his life. He became an administrator, ensuring grain distribution stays fair, living your lessons. Thank you, grandfather, he says to the stone, for showing us what not to become. 50 years after your death, the catastrophe is ancient history now, taught in schools, debated in temples, preserved in monuments. Everyone knows the story. Few understand it. The city of Jahi is now a major Egyptian trade center. 15,000 people. Temples, libraries, markets, everything civilization offers. Built on land granted to desperate raiders who became productive citizens. Your legacy is literal. Streets, buildings, culture. Young Ashur, now elderly himself, 64, your age at death, is writing his own history. Memories of Grandfather, he calls it. A personal account of the few years he knew you. The bedside readings. Your final journey to Anatolia. Your last words. He writes, I asked him once if he was a good man. He said he didn't know. I was 12 and thought adults knew everything. Now I'm old and realize he gave the only honest answer. Goodness isn't a state, it's a struggle. He struggled every day. That's what made him good. Your great-great-grandchildren number 37. Farmers, scribes, soldiers, merchants, priests. All Egyptian, none hungry, none desperate, none facing your choices. One great-great-grandson becomes a historian, specializing in the Bronze Age collapse. He travels to Anatolia, visits the memorial, touches the 52 names you touched. He writes, My ancestor killed these men, but the empire killed them first by creating conditions where murder became survival. The true villains aren't in this list of names. They died in palaces, having never felt hunger. The Hittite kingdom is fully restored now, though different, smaller, wiser. They maintain massive grain reserves, never locked. During droughts, they open immediately. They remember. Egypt remembers too. Every new pharaoh takes oath at the catastrophe memorial in Memphis, a monument listing all the kingdoms that fell. The oath. I will feed my people before feeding my pride. Your name is in the oath. As Ashur the survivor testified, hunger makes humans into beasts. I swear never to create such hunger. A pharaoh swears by your name. The farmer who stole grain and became a raider is now part of royal liturgy. The absurdity would make you laugh or cry. Probably both. 100 years after your death, you're legend now. Stories told to children contain your name. Work hard like Ashur. Survive like Ashur. Remember like Ashur. The historical accuracy is degrading. Some stories say you led 10,000 raiders. Others say you single-handedly saved Egypt. Others claim you were a prophet who predicted the catastrophe. None quite right. Pawa's original history still exists, carefully preserved in temple libraries. Scholars study it, correct the myths, maintain accuracy. But popular culture doesn't care about accuracy. They want heroes and villains, simple morals, clear lessons. You're becoming the hero. The 52 men you killed are footnotes. The cities you sacked are backdrop. Your violence is justified, sanitized, made noble, the complexity stripped away. A young priestess in Jahi's temple, your great-great-great-granddaughter, though she doesn't know the exact lineage, reads Pawa's original text. She's shocked by the truth. He was a raider? He killed people. But the stories say, the head priest explains, the stories say what people need to hear. The history tells what actually happened. Both are important. One teaches morality, one teaches truth. Which matters more? Yes. The catastrophe memorial in Anatolia receives thousands of visitors yearly. A pilgrimage site now. People touch the 52 names you touched, not knowing the connection. They mourn the empire's fall, learn the lessons, then return to comfortable lives. Egypt thrives. The policies learned from the catastrophe, open granaries, suspended tribute during hardship, managed migration, have prevented 3 famines from becoming catastrophes. Thousands of lives saved because you spoke truth. The Hittite kingdom thrives too. Different borders, different politics, but stable. They teach the catastrophe in schools with one central lesson. Leaders serve people. When this inverts, empires fall. Your name appears in histories from Greece, Egypt, Babylon. everywhere touched by the Bronze Age collapse. Always a footnote, usually accurate-ish, occasionally wildly wrong, but remembered. 100 years later, remembered. In your family plot, 7 generations sleep. Ashur, Tiwat, Muwati, Power, young Ashur, all their spouses, all their children. A dynasty born from desperation. Your great-great-great-great-grandchildren don't visit often. Too distant. Your ancestor, not family. But they exist. 47 people carrying your blood, living because you refuse to let your family starve. The mathematics that drove you, save family at any cost, proved successful. This is victory. This is what those 52 men died for. Was it worth it? History says yes. You would say you still don't know. 200 years after your death, the catastrophe is ancient history, like Troy or the flood myths. Still taught, still remembered, but losing immediacy. The lessons remain vital, but the lived experience is gone. Your family line has expanded beyond tracking. Thousands can claim descent from you. Some know it, proud of their lineage. Most don't, the connection lost to time. But Egyptian census records show it. Ashur of Jahi's bloodline has spread across the entire delta. The city of Jahi celebrated its bicentennial last year. Major festival. They honored the founders, Pithana the warlord, Ashur the survivor, Na the teacher, all the original raiders. Statues in the central square. Yours depicts you as wise elder, not desperate raider. Power's history has been translated into Greek, Akkadian, and several other languages. The tale of the catastrophe is studied from Babylon to Athens. Different cultures draw different lessons. Greeks see it as tragedy, hubris leading to fall. Egyptians see it as survival guide, how to prevent collapse. Babylonians see it as historical precedent. Empires end, prepare accordingly. All correct, all incomplete. The truth is too complex for single interpretation. A Greek philosopher, Herodotus, they call him the father of history, visits Jahi researching the catastrophe. He reads Power's account, visits your memorial, interviews your descendants. He writes, "In every account, Ashur appears differently. Hero, villain, victim, survivor. Perhaps he was all these. Perhaps this is what makes him human." The Hittite kingdom has fallen again. Different reasons this time, political, not environmental. But it fell. Empires always fall. Yours survived one collapse by adapting. The next collapsed by rigid adherence to past glory. Your lesson holds. Adapt or die. They forgot. They died. Egypt still thrives. Stable government, managed resources, open granaries. The policies born from your testimony are law now, so embedded that people forget why they exist. Success means the catastrophe becomes incomprehensible. Why wouldn't you open granaries during famine? Your answer echoes across centuries. Because the people controlling the granaries were never hungry. 500 years after your death. The Bronze Age collapse is ancient mythology now, studied like scholars study prehistoric floods. Still important, still taught, but the living memory is completely gone. Jahi has evolved beyond recognition. Now part of Persia's empire, administration changed, culture blended. But the core remains. Prosperous Delta city, built by refugees who became citizens. Your legacy persists even when your name is forgotten by most. Your family line is untraceable now. Thousands, maybe tens of thousands, descended from you. The census records that tracked it burned in a library fire. But genetic reality doesn't care about documentation. Your blood runs through a significant portion of Egypt's delta population. Statistically, you're ancestor to most people living in the region. The desperate farmer who chose violence over starvation became grandfather to a region. Power's history survives, though corrupted by copies of copies. Errors creep in. Some versions claim you fought dragons, others say you were a demigod. The truth is buried under layers of retelling. But temple archives maintain the original. Priests who care about accuracy copy it meticulously, preserving Power's exact words. Her voice, and through her, yours, survives pristine in these copies. He begins a project, tracing every surviving account of the catastrophe, comparing them, separating fact from fiction. 10 years of work. The result is the Codex of the Collapse, the definitive history. Your story is central. Power's account is the oldest, most detailed survivor testimony. You become the primary source for understanding what people experienced during the collapse. The Codex spreads. Libraries across the known world copy it. Egypt still maintains the catastrophe protocols. Granaries open during drought, tribute suspended during famine, refugees welcomed during crisis. 500 years of policy unbroken, all traceable back to the lessons learned from your testimony. How many lives saved? Impossible to calculate. Thousands, tens of thousands. All because you spoke truth instead of maintaining comfortable lies. 1,000 years after your death. Your ancient history now. The Bronze Age is studied like we study dinosaurs. Fascinating, important, completely alien to current experience. Jahi still exists, though under different name, different administration, different culture. The city rebuilt itself 6 times over millennium. But Egyptian records maintain continuity. This city was founded by Sea People's refugees in 1165 BCE. Your name is in those records. The catastrophe itself is better understood now. Modern, for them, scholars have pieced together climate data, migration patterns, diplomatic records. They understand it was synchronized system collapse across multiple civilizations, triggered by environmental crisis. Your testimony, preserved through Power's meticulous documentation, is the emotional heart of this understanding. The technical details come from archaeology and records. The human cost comes from you. A scholar writes, "We know the Hittite Empire fell because grain production dropped 70% over 3 years. We know this created refugee crisis, military conflicts, and system collapse. But Ashur of Jahi tells us what this felt like. The choice between watching your child starve and becoming a killer. The mathematics of survival. The weight of necessary violence. This is what the percentages mean when they become human. Your testimony has been translated into 20 languages. Every culture touched by the catastrophe's echoes has your story. Some translations are awful, missing context, simplifying complexity. But the core remains. This is what catastrophe does to ordinary people. The 52 names you remembered are forgotten by everyone except scholars who study your specific testimony. The memorial in Anatolia crumbled centuries ago, but you remembered them. Power recorded your remembrance. Now they exist in academic texts, preserved as cautionary tale about violence's cost. Your family line is impossible to trace, but mathematical models suggest you have approximately 50,000 living descendants. None know you as grandfather. All carry forward the life you fought to preserve. Egypt still hasn't experienced catastrophic collapse since yours. 1,000 years of relative stability, partially because lessons learned from the Bronze Age catastrophe remain embedded in policy. Granaries open. Refugees are managed. Tribute flexes with harvest quality. How many catastrophes prevented? How many lives saved? The counterfactual is impossible to calculate. But scholars know, without the testimony of survivors like you, the lessons would have been forgotten. Catastrophe would have repeated. You spoke, power wrote, humanity learned. 1,000 years later, still learning. 2,000 years after your death. Your mythology now, but different kind. Historical mythology. Real person, real events, but so distant that reality and legend blur. Archaeological discoveries confirm Power's account. Excavations in ancient Hattusa find exactly what you described. Burned granaries, looted temples, signs of rapid, violent collapse. Your testimony is verified by dirt and pottery shards. This makes you more real to scholars, not legend, witness. Your name appears in comparative history texts, authors examining how various civilizations responded to climate crisis. Ancient Rome's response to drought, Han China's famine management, medieval Europe's plague response, all compared to Bronze Age collapse, the analysis. Societies that maintained flexibility, opened resources, welcomed refugees survived. Societies that became rigid, hoarded resources, closed borders, collapsed. Your testimony illustrates the pivot point, the moment when empire could have adapted but chose rigidity. The moment when survival required becoming something else. A historian writes, Ashur of Jahi represents every refugee who became raider, every raider who became settler, every settler who rebuilt civilization. His story is not unique, it is universal. We know hundreds like him existed. We have his name because his daughter wrote it down. Power's achievement is recognized now. She's considered one of history's first true historians, writing not from propaganda or glory, but from testimony and truth. Her methodology of interviewing survivors, cross-referencing accounts, preserving uncomfortable truths, becomes model for historical work. Your testimony is the centerpiece of her achievement. Unflinching, honest, self-aware. You never pretended to be a hero, never justified the violence. Just explained the mathematics that made violence survival. Jahi has been conquered and reconquered, currently part of an empire that didn't exist in your time, governed by people who never heard of Hittites. But the agricultural policies remain. 2,000 years of institutional memory, preserved because catastrophe was documented. Your descendants number hundreds of thousands now, spread across Mediterranean and beyond. A small percentage of humans alive can trace lineage to you if they tried. Most never will. But genetically, you won. Your family survived. They're still surviving. The memorial you helped create in Anatolia is archaeological site now, excavated, studied, partially restored. The 52 names you touched are weathered but readable. Tourists visit, photograph them, never knowing the connection. But you knew. You touched those stones. You remembered those men. Across 2,000 years, that remembrance persists in Power's account. She recorded that you remembered, so they're remembered. This is immortality, not glory, not heroism, just continuity. Your choice to speak truth created chain of remembrance that survives 2,000 years and counting, 3,000 years after your death. Your ancient history now, studied like Sumerians or Akkadians, fascinating, important, utterly remote, but still studied, still taught, still relevant. Climate change remains human concern. Civilizations still face drought, famine, resource crisis. The mechanisms are different, modern agriculture, global trade, technology, but the fundamental mathematics remain. What happens when harvest fails? What happens when people get hungry? Your testimony provides answers, not solutions. You didn't solve anything, but warnings. This is what happened last time. This is what humans became. This is the cost. Modern, for them, historians consider the Bronze Age collapse humanity's first documented global catastrophe. Multiple civilizations, synchronized failure, mass migration, violence. And at the center, testimonies like yours. Individual humans making impossible choices. Your name appears in philosophy texts, discussions of morality during crisis. Can violence be justified by survival? Where is the line between self-defense and aggression? You didn't answer these questions, you just lived them. A philosopher writes, Asher killed 52 men and regretted each one. Yet he'd do it again to save his family. This is the human condition, caught between morality and necessity. We study him not for answers, but for honest wrestling with impossible questions. Jahi exists as archaeological site now. The modern city, modern for them, 3 millennia after you, is elsewhere. But excavations continue. They found your home's foundation, found pottery sherds from your household, found bronze knife with your name inscribed, Egyptian award for military service. That knife is in museum now, small placard, bronze knife belonging to Asher of Jahi, founder of settlement, veteran of Delta Defense Forces, survivor of Bronze Age collapse. His testimony, preserved by his daughter Pawa, remains our primary source for understanding human experience during catastrophe. Your descendants number millions now. Genetic studies show significant percentage of Mediterranean population carries markers from Sea People's settlement. Your ancestor to multitude, though none know your name unless they study history. But those who study history know you well. Pawa's account has been continuously preserved for 3,000 years. Multiple copies, translations, scholarly editions. Your words are among the oldest continuously maintained testimonies in human record. You spoke truth. Daughter wrote it. Humanity preserved it. 3,000 years later, still teaching. The harvest that failed killed 3 empires, but it also created new ones. Egypt adapted. Persia learned. Rome studied the collapse and built different. Each civilization learned from the catastrophe, in part because you testified about it. How many lives saved by lessons learned from your testimony? Impossible to calculate. But the chain of causation is clear. You spoke, Pawa wrote, historians preserved, civilizations learned, policies changed, people lived. The 52 men you killed are in the historical record because you remembered them. Their names, preserved in Pawa's account, are studied as evidence of catastrophe's human cost. They matter because you made them matter. In the end, this is your legacy. You survived catastrophe. You testified honestly. You refused to let truth die with you. And across 3,000 years, that truth continues teaching. The wheat field that failed started chain reaction. Empires falling, cultures migrating, civilizations transforming. You were one farmer in one field, but you spoke about it, and speaking mattered. Somewhere in modern Jahi, modern for their time, a teacher is explaining the Bronze Age collapse to students. She uses your testimony, reads Pawa's account. The students listen to your words, 3,000 years old, still clear, still urgent. This is what catastrophe does to ordinary people, the teacher says. Remember Asher, learn from Asher. Don't create another Asher. That's enough. That's legacy. That's immortality. Not in glory, not in conquest, but in truth that persists. You were Asher, farmer, raider, soldier, survivor, witness. You testified, and truth prevailed. So there you have it. One bad harvest, 3 empires fallen, millions of lives changed, and one farmer named Ashur who became a raider, then a soldier, then a teacher, then a memory. His choice to speak truth, To not hide the violence, not justify the killing, just explain the impossible mathematics of survival. That testimony survived 3,000 years, still teaching us, still warning us. What's your catastrophe? What's your harvest failure? Are the granaries open? Are the gates welcoming? Remember Ashur. Learn from Ashur. Don't create another Ashur. If you enjoyed this journey through history, please like, subscribe, and comment about where you're watching from. These stories matter. These lessons persist. Now sleep well. You're safe. You're fed. You're not facing Ashur's choices. Yet. Sweet dreams, and see you in the next story.